Fox News host Neil Cavuto just got his feelings hurt as GOP Senator John Kennedy spoke his mind and blasted Vice President Kamala Harris. Kennedy spoke out about the VP and he didn't hold back at all. In fact, the messaging from the left remains the same. It is both sexist to criticize Kamala Harris.
Through 24. They are stupid.
She's not the brightest bulb in the ceiling, you know.
She's not that smart.
No, she's not smart. But we're with those young people. They're smart, they're young, cunning, and we're going to take them every time. We'll take them.
Now, the same could be said if names were thrown her way. Now, as far as most of us know, they've been calling Donald Trump plenty of names. Early in 2020, Democratic Representative Gerald Nadler, he called Donald Trump a dictator who doesn't respect Congress. But of course, the minute that he fires back, he's then painted as this villain who's bullying Harris. And the same could be said for his allies who were backing him up. Kennedy being one of them. You can be the judge if you feel as if he went overboard here, because Cavuto feels that his words might affect how female voters see Trump. Although it's safe to say that liberal voters already see Donald Trump in a particular light. It's not like that's going to change anytime soon. And this is what Democrats are now fighting Trump with, that his words along with some of his allies are disrespectful and that they need to tone it down. But on the other end, Democrats can say pretty much whatever they want about the right and not be criticized for it. Something just doesn't make sense here, and it shows the clear distinction between the two parties. Here's what happened between Kennedy and Cavuto.
The polling that I've seen shows that many Americans think that the vice president is not a serious person. As I said, that she's a bit of a ding-dong. And number two, that she is a member of the loon wing of the Democratic Party.
And I'm just wondering how you think that will resonate with women when she is called nasty and crazy and a ding-dong and all and disrespectful between you and the president, what has been said about her. I'm just wondering, do you worry how that comes across? And maybe you draw no distinction between a female candidate and a male, and that's fair game. But that this could hurt you with female voters with these type of comments.
Well, let me say it again.
Sure.
The vice president is a candidate for president of the United States. I don't care about her gender. Neil, maybe you do, but I don't. I don't care about her race. I care about her
Then
competence.
why call her a ding-dong? Why call her a ding-dong?
And I'm telling you what the polling shows. I'm telling you what the polling shows. And it does. And I'll be glad to sit down with you and walk you through the polls.
Please do, because I never know when it's constructed to call people names, Senator. I just, on the left or the right. But
I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but let me say it again.
Senator, you keep bringing it back to my feelings. My feelings matter a little. All I'm telling you is if you think you can gain this November calling people names, I don't know how far that goes, left or right, but we'll see. It's still early to your point.
Your feelings seem to me like they matter to you a lot, Neil, and I'm trying to be objective here. Let me say it again.
Are you really being objective, Senator? I just think you've got a bash-a-thon, a name calling at her. If you call that being objective, I don't know. But Senator, I do want to thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, Neil. I hope you have a better day.
Now, I want y'all to think about that for a second. So you're running for president, but you're not allowed to be called names? And what about the entire weird movement that they have right now? The vice president and their Democratic allies are resorting to this new line of criticism against Donald Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance.
And what I think the Democrats are doing now really caught me by surprise, because it's weird. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just weird. In fact, the Democrats are looking at the Republican ticket and saying, these guys are just weird. Watch.
Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
And 3 days ago, the nation found out what we've all known in Minnesota. These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
Every day, it comes out, Vance has done something more extreme, more weird, more erratic.
One of those things, of course, is pointing out the differences between these two candidates. I mean, on the other side, they're just weird. I mean, they really are.
There is a temptation to have our message be entirely about Donald Trump because we're so disturbed by what his return would mean. Right. And maybe a little more also about J.D. Vance because of how odd he's turned out to be.
You ever see this guy? Like when he's on a stage, he kind of meanders over, can't really walk well. And he goes over to the flag and he hugs the flag. I mean, I love the flag, but it's a weird thing he does.
So you got to wonder
who on the Democrat side decided, okay, we've done some market testing and we've done some polling, and this is the word, because they all got the word quickly.
This message was emphasized recently by Democratic Governor Tim Walz, as he called both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance as weird in an MSNBC interview. Walz is included in Harris's short list of potential vice presidents. But the minute Harris is called a ding-dong, then all of a sudden it's offensive, which is kind of saying that Republicans should give themselves a handicap just because they're up against the black woman who was appointed as a DEI hire. But of course, the left would never admit to that, even though President Joe Biden was very specific about who he wanted as a running mate just a few years back. So this brings me to Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance. So Vance is under a lot of scrutiny right now for his comments about childless cat ladies who are ruining the country. Now, I know it sounds a little bit extreme, but Vance says that he was taken out of context, way out of context. In an interview on Fox News, Vance says that Democrats are trying to blow his statement out of proportion. He says that the Democratic Party has become explicitly anti-family in some of their policies. He also reminded us that many Americans are concerned about the border and how Harris, as the border czar, kept it open. Vance also cited a previous message from Harris that talked about how it was a bad idea to have kids because of a climate change anxiety. He believes that it's important for the country as a whole to be more pro-family. Now, it's peculiar that the left is so focused on language rather than policies, because wouldn't it make sense to criticize Donald Trump or his running mate about the policies that they've implemented throughout their terms? Because this is what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have been talking about. They've pointed to the borders and our economy as huge problems for the American people. And yet, we haven't heard any talk from Harris about the borders at all. Or if she has said anything, she hasn't held herself accountable at all for the millions of illegal immigrants that have entered the country under President Joe Biden's term. And that's the challenge that Harris has. And it's possibly why they're so focused on keeping the language as a part of the narrative, because there's not much to run on when it comes to policy. Bakari Sellers, a Harris ally who co-chaired her campaign 4 years ago, commented on the challenges that she's facing in recalibrating her policy for the American people. Sellers says it's like building the plane while you're flying it. Now, this is apt because Harris is a replica of President Biden, although a lot of people feel as if she's much more to the left compared to the current president. But the simple fact of the matter is that she's inheriting everything that Biden's administration has left behind. So there's the matter of the economy and inflation, the struggles of lower and middle class Americans, and of course, let's not forget about the influx of illegal immigrants into the country. These are points that she needs to address, but it's going to be difficult to do that given her position. Mike Berg, communications director at the National Republican Senatorial Committee, says that she was involved in every one of Joe Biden's failures, adding that with her as president, things will only get worse, which kind of reminds me that the Democratic Party is getting desperate. In a previous video, I discussed that in a lot more detail as Kamala Harris is going all out to get the votes that she needs. So far out that they're willing to hire celebrities and musicians to pander to Black and Hispanic voters. So make sure you guys check that one out, because you're not going to believe what happens over there. But as always, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing these videos, and I'll catch you on the next one.